And our third and final matchup of the PPC week number 4 about to kick off. Dolson and Kresnik, and we're here for Sanguine. Remember, a team that was triple deeps and then was shoot to kill. Now Sanguine is going to be that roster, and Kresnik is my co-caster here who will walk us through the entire name of HP Officejet Pro, because I certainly don't remember all the extra words there. I think it's HP Officejet Pro Instant All-in-One ink-ready printer or something
HP
like
Officejet
that.
Pro 6978 wireless all-in-one instant ink-ready printer. Yep. I think might be. You were close. You had all the words. They just had to get put together like the puzzle pieces that you were searching for.
Right. They were all up in there, and I was trying to work on it. But this is a 1 versus 3 matchup, technically undefeated up to this point. Are Sanguine, and only 1 loss for HP Officejet Pro. So now they will go toe-to-toe, HP Officejet Pro, to try to keep pace with those teams on top, and Sanguine trying to distance that gap just a little bit further. What do you think it's been about this Sanguine roster, though, that has kind of found so much success, especially in a region where we figured, Team Project and Flashpoint may consistently be up on top? What has it been about Sanguine that's really brought them so much success?
They just clicked as a team so fast. I think they really found what works for them, their own unique style. And if you can find that in an area that I think this meta is still kind of unfigured out, no one's really found exactly what they want to do. Everyone's kind of realizing that triple DPS, double support are things that are really good. They were doing that first, and it's something that they excel at. They've had so much more time to practice it. Combine that with having I think, the most flexible console players, now that we've seen controllers kind of taking off a little bit over time, it really is a recipe for constant success in how we've been looking in this Season 3 meta.
And I love the way they've looked. And I remember back in qualifiers, I'm thinking, I wonder if Triple Deeps is going to have to change up their play style, because everyone's going to know they're playing triple DPS every single game, when in reality it's kind of the opposite. What they're playing is so good that everyone else has started to kind of move into that meta and kind of identify ways to get an advantage there. Up against HP Officejet Pro, though, MageMonkey, Ralkion, Betty, Penguiinn, and Quaxhi here for this week, and Brightmarsh is where we will start up. What do you imagine maybe some priority picks are here moving into Brightmarsh, Kresnik? We saw a lot of Bomb King kind of forced in our previous set by Fatal Ambition, and I think maybe the lack of success is less map or Bomb King based and maybe just more situation based around where the Bomb King was situated kind of in that set. Do you maybe imagine one of the potentially 6 DPSs ends up being a Bomb King here?
Most likely. Bomb King is really strong at controlling the apartments and being able to fight the rim. I would say BK, definitely a big pick for Sanguine, putting poison on that. He could also play Evie. When I'm looking at HP, I'm thinking they want probably like a Ruckus and Ashe. The last time we saw HP play on this map, I feel like it was very aggressive play from Quaxhi, and Ruckus and Ashe really are not only good in this meta, but take to his style of play super well. They really let him get away with so much and force a lot of eyes turned to him, which is what you really have to do against triple DPS compositions. You force the attention the wrong way, and then your team has to clean up off of that.
A lot of the attention from Sanguine maybe is going to be focused around this Vivian, because we all know what she can do when she's left alone in the backline. I think interesting bans, though, from HP Officejet Pro here between a Talus and an Io. Io, obviously, in our previous set in Brazil, played a big role, and then even over in Europe to start off the day. Viktor as well has been big. What's maybe the mindset of the printer squad here? They're going to take Talus and Io off the table. A bit unconventional in their ban preference.
Step into the light.
Talus is clearly a target towards the people on Sanguine, but Io is just, like, you don't want to give a triple DPS composition to Io. You never want to do it. It is so good at letting them kind of do whatever they want. So 1 target ban, 1 general meta, we don't want to play against this ban.
Right.
Lets them look other places. They don't have to turn to point if no one's there. Wadu doesn't always want to be standing on the point. Surprise, surprise. He's not always going to have that level of healing, that level of sustain with him. So giving them the chance to look at the lane that Wadu's pushing or force him to get funneled onto point is surely the reasoning behind the bans.
And I can't imagine a better person to have with me when there's a Terminus locked in, the Terminus Stan himself in Kresnik. He has seen play, and he's done pretty well in the games that we've seen him. Brightmarsh certainly no exception of a map where Terminus has done well. But we haven't seen him yet today. Why maybe reach for him here on Brightmarsh?
We know that Sanguine is going to be picking a lot of damage, right? So you just get this Terminus who blocks an infinite amount of damage on a timer. as long as their team can execute in that period of time, whether the Bomb King can get aggressive enough, moving with whatever off tank they end up having, or off support if it ends up being that way. It just puts them on a timer as opposed to a straight number that might just go shooting down because of raw DPS on the other side.
Right. And as well as Terminus, I was curious about Ruckus and where maybe he was in Brazil. And HP Officejet Pro are going to reach for kind of that double tank composition here, still searching for a healer with their 5th and final pick. Sanguine, though, in the meantime, have drafted a very strong composition based on what we've started to see come out of this meta, and it's going to be a Furia rounding out 6, 9, 7, 8's draft here. Do you like what HP Officejet Pro have brought into Brightmarsh here for map number 1?
I do, but I feel like Sanguine kind of just got everything. They don't have the IO that they want, but it's all picks that we've seen them succeed with before. And to stop the aggression from coming from HP Officejet, that con is going to be so key. They'll just stay a little bit off the point, maybe give up a little bit of cap time to that Terminus, but pressure with the stun grip on the Bomb King, on the Ruckus, anybody who wants to threaten their backline at all.
Well, we're going to start NA in the same spot where Brazil finished off, and that is Brightmarsh. Sanguine looking to remain undefeated through 4 weeks. HP Officejet Pro looking to strike for their third time through 4 weeks. Brightmarsh is where the battle awaits, and I think it's going to take a lot to kind of unseat Sanguine here at this point. Maybe you look towards another Flashpoint matchup, another Team Project matchup, but they're just so good at running these triple DPS compositions, and Ghogert especially, I think, has become maybe a shining light here on the Sanguine lineup, especially now that he's got Androxus. We saw what FreezeGod was able to do over in Brazil just 1 set ago. It's a tough matchup to play into if you're HP Officejet Pro.
Yeah, I think so, but I think they have decent ways to deal with the Andy. It's just the fact that fighting Ghogert means you're going to have to walk into the sidelines of Poison or RKuhl. You're going to have to be taking some pressure from them. If he gets aggressive on you, he could run away to the waiting stun arms of the con that are going to be trying to grab you as you chase. But I don't think that Androxus necessarily has a great target to get onto. Both DPS excel, I think, at fighting him. Furia is going to be able to stun or just dash around the corner or just win the raw DPS fight, potentially, if the Wrath is there. So it's going to be a rough start for Ghogert, and you can already see they're playing so far away from him. They want him to have to cross that gap into them.
Penguinn's actually found first blood, and it's on to ballersteve, so no luminary boosts for the first 10 or 15 seconds of this fight, and Ghogert has rounded the corner and only waits Ralkion around the side. MageMonkey drops rKuhl as well. HP Officejet Pro mitigate a lot of that offensive onslaught from Sanguine early on here, and they've gotten themselves control of this mid-fight.
You can already see how much control they have with the Term and the Bomb King up top. Well, such a potent combination, normally only really seen on Ice Mines, but a Siphon on a Bomb King is going to work anywhere, especially when they execute well, but maybe a bit of over-aggression there on the side. Poison cleans up both people controlling the flank.
Yeah, all you need is a small opening if you're playing Cassie, and Poison has found that to the tune of a double kill. 3 kills total. That's a soft triple, a soft quad from Poison on the retake attempt. There is still enough time, though, Kresnik, that they will have respawns. HP Officejet Pro, they're going to be able to move themselves forward, but look how aggressive Sanguine are being. They lose rKuhl in the meantime. If they can find a few dismounts here, it will be point number 1 around the side. Goes Terminus. Quaxhi gets the kill. MageMonkey dropped down 96%. The dash in, and they're able to retake control of this point. HP Officejet Pro move in. Quaxhi finds the kill, stays alive, gets the kill on the ballersteve. Poison turns around, one final shot, but it's Ralkion who moves through, gets stunned down. A double kill from Penguiinn, answered back by Sanguine. At this point, you're going to be sending one in after another, and somehow now rKuhl stays alive. This is a battle tooth and nail for this mid-fight.
And the crush might be enough to make it happen. MageMonkey has to split his damage now, but Quaxi's back, but he's not on the objective. I'm not sure if the Monkey can make it, and he can't.
Off around the corner, a heroic fight there from HP Officejet Pro. But Sanguine, they're able to stay alive. A quick pause before we jump back into this one and see how it rolls through. I don't know, whose is that to lose really there towards the end? I mean, tooth and nail from both sides. It looks like Sanguine are going to run away with it, overextend maybe on the dismount attempts. And then just down the stretch, Quaxhi not being in contest range. That's a tough mid-fight, but Sanguine come out on top.
Yeah, I'm shocked Quaxhi lived as long as he did. I guess not having Wrecker or not having Wrecker be as good as it used to be means that emitter gets a lot more mileage than it used to. He still trades for the support in the back, and without that little bit of healing, things get a lot harder. But you could see why they wanted that Khan solo tank, I think. You see Wadu on the point. Anytime someone goes into touch, it's just over. That deflector shield on the Vivian that would have potentially clutched the round doesn't do anything because she's just stunned immediately.
And the question is always, can we keep that momentum rolling as Penguinn rolls through and ballersteve knocks down the BK? So this is a great start for Sanguine. Could have gotten a little bit better if ballersteve connected on that through time and space. Controlling the side room as Quaxhi actually drops down the Hexafire. That would have been a hell of a reversal if it had ended up connecting there, but not this time around. I think Poison throughout the first stretch of this game, though, Kresnik has done wonders for Sanguine. It seems like in these fights that they might not win, tends to be the Cassie that has turned around a good bit of this damage.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of, I think, solid Cassie games. Nepo earlier in the European set, and now with Poison, I think, having a great performance so far. Complete control, I think, it might just be HP stacking a little bit too much, because right now, look at this. Yes, they're all dead now, but a Penguinn with the post-mortem Poppy Bomb takes down Wadu mid-shout. Sorry, I got caught off guard because of that, but you can see they're all stacking in that one little area. That plays so well into the hands of the triple DPS composition. Getting surrounded is literally the lose condition of any team that plays against that style.
And I'm concerned now if I'm Sanguine. You're fighting uphill into a high ground Vivian whose sentinels are out firing away down to the low ground. You still have some time. No overpower, though. That could have been enough to soften. This time it's the barrage. One rocket rings down and doesn't connect for any damage onto the Vivian, who's playing the high ground so well here. So with 35 seconds left, Sanguine have some time. Ghogert has found a flank. I mean, you don't need to shoot up to the high ground if you can just dash there. Ghogert trades out 1 for 1, but is that enough for Sanguine to really open that door? Penguinn says no way to the tune of 2. Quaxhi drops the 3rd. For now, HP Officejet Pro have weathered the storm.
It was a great flank, but the lockdown on the house from HP Officejet just makes it impossible to get in. Termin BK make a choke unpushable. There's nothing else about it. You cannot push into a Termin and BK that are playing well. And Mage and Penguinn are just completely owning that area with no chance for them to go through. Finally, they back up, and that might be a mistake, because Mage is dangerously low.
I'm looking for rKuhl as well with this barrage to help take some of that high ground, but again, it's Penguinn on the defense who has 2 kills on this Bomb King and like a run back. Penguinn with 2, Quaxhi with 1. And the defense stands strong from HP Officejet Pro. Talk about a tough lineup to fight into. Bomb King and Ralkion on this Vivian. 10-4-2 for Penguinn on the BK.
Yeah, once you finally break through something, Quaxi's just going to dash over your heads into your backline. There's really not it's a lose-lose situation a lot of the time once you actually cross that space. It's going to be even hard to pin down Ralkion. Once you're on him, he's running Runic Ammunition 5, 25% lifesteal on top of all that extra damage he's doing. He's going to be so hard to kill, and that's where their CC is going to kind of come into effect, or the ultimates that they're spending. You saw Ghogert killed Ralkion by point blank cursed arming his kneecaps. No other way to get under the deflector shield that way. And then the stun grab is basically it. It's all on Ralkion, I think, to position smartly, and he's had a rough go of it at the start, but as he figures out what he can do, what he can get away with, I think this Vivian's going to get only better as the round goes on.
Yeah, Ralkion seems to be one of the big win conditions here for HP Officejet Pro. MageMonkey just chipped away at, and maybe that's an understatement, does get some good healing, but very close to death there through time and space. Doesn't connect for any kills this time around, but can't fault ballersteve for sending out a few lines here and there. That's an Inflame popped for HP Officejet Pro to start to buy themselves a little bit of space. King Bomb is going to roll through as well, and they might be looking for poison here on the right-hand side. Instead, it's rKuhl who sprints his way into an explosion as Penguinn has found the opening kill.
Yeah, that was the exact wrong direction to be going when you hear a King Bomb used on the other side, but at the very least, they made it blow up faster, right? If they thought they were losing the fight, at least it's out of the way. Penguinn needs to rotate back and help on the point, but everyone's watching the cross. They know that he has to help, and he just gets destroyed.
Penguinn and Ghogert combine for a couple. Quaxhi still has the Hexafire. It looks like Poison might catch most of it, and actually only catches a little bit. Quaxhi rooted in place, dropped down at the hands of Ghogert. Ralkion finds a kill in the meantime on the offside, but it's 90% for Sanguine. this train's going to keep on rolling. Sanguine take point number 2.
Controlling that tree area defensively has been what Triple DPS has been doing to win on this map since 2017. It's so good to hold back, watch the point, watch the sides, and cover that one cross angle. It was so hard for them to push through. They finally go to help their team, and they just can't even do it without taking their entire health bar.
And I guess, Krez, if you're not going to find much success in the mid-fights just yet, being good on the defense is at least going to keep you in this game. And it looks like Sanguine has just had a tough time really making up a lot of space with this payload. I mean, again, I think it is a difficult composition to fight into. If you're looking at the positional advantage maybe of HP Officejet Pro, you might just be waiting on a barrage to connect on a left-out target, maybe an overpower to open that door.
And they do have good ults to make that happen. I mean, the combination of Scout through time and space, they could Cursed Arm from a flank. Like, they have the ultimates they can spend to make it happen, but it's going to be so tough to find it with how far back and how angle controlling Sanguine are going to be. And right now, Ralkion tries to make something happen, but stun grabbed, and they just got clean wiped.
He did move through and got the kill onto Poison, and that might just buy them enough time. The payload will continue to roll forward nonetheless and won't even make its way through that first choke point. So Sanguine have found the opening, and this time it was just thanks to a couple of picks. So the important thing to look at, I think, now is you do have the overpower barrage through time and space. They got some good offensive ultimates, but stunned down Ghogert, see you later. HP Officejet Pro, they're going to retake all of the territory they just lost.
That's showing the power of Crush, and yes, Terminus loses a little bit of his burst damage, but having a more CC on a team that I would consider very CC light makes it so you're stuck in this. All right, am I buying resilience for one Terminus? Is it really worth it to go all the way out of my way for it? And if he keeps finding picks like that paired with Penguinn, it just might be.
It's been such a hot, cold game from Penguinn. I mean, I think his slash line is probably just fine, but under the duress here and there, and the same time as he's finding double kills. Now fully staggered out as Betty back on the respawn. 10 seconds left on that Furia with 15 seconds left on the payload push. Hexifier soon to be ready. A King Bomb as well from the high ground could change things around here. Sanguine, call it 5 ultimates ready to go for them as Scout will be up shortly after a few connected shots from Poison. Very low is MageMonkey. That's a great Void Grip, and Ghogert finalizes the kill. MageMonkey shoots out some blasts, and WaduHekington ends up falling, and it's 3 members of Sanguine left in range, and that's all HP Officejet Pro need to tie up this game.
The worst part about having solo tank is if one little thing goes wrong with your solo tank con, there's nothing else you can do. You have to throw DPS on the point when you have all these backlines or safe characters, and it puts you in such a bad position. There's really not many other options you have. I gotta say, I was surprised that Officejet held that with how quickly Quaxhi went down. Yeah. I was gonna, if I had time to talk about it, I was gonna say, all right, well, they have ultimates. I figure Hexifier on the point, put the Siphon right on top of him, no one can hurt him. But Quaxhi immediately dies. But it's enough. Just pulling people away from looking at Wadu, letting them shoot other people, lets Wadu go down, and nobody else on that team, barring a second and a half bought from a reversal maybe, can really keep that going. If these defenses keep going the way of HP Officejet, I think they have a good chance here, especially with this Scout being burned so early.
That's a big win, not only for the scoreboard, but for the ultimate as well. Nearly rolls through that through time and space that did end up connecting onto MageMonkey, but the sudden onslaught from HP Officejet Pro is more than enough to find themselves 2 kills here. Sanguine really grouped up around this corner, and Ralkion will take up that high ground mantle 7 days out of the week. HP Officejet Pro all at once storm the gates, and Sanguine, they're looking for the retake.
And Sanguine might get a pick off Ralkion, but Term Siphon is just so powerful! Ralkion lives with like 2 HP as MageMonkey's perfectly in time to save him.
Poison finally dropped off that Vivian. Penguinn still alive. MageMonkey down, receiving a little bit of healing, but Betty ends up falling as well. That's a successful retake from Sanguine, but it is 99% for HP Officejet Pro. The last final tap onto Penguinn completes the stagger. But we've seen this story before, Krez, and Sanguine have to be careful.
Yeah, as long as Sanguine can not get staggered out here, they have a chance to hold it, but they have to do with this Terminus, who got completely onto the point, unfound, and still has Reanimate. This is a disaster for them.
Around the backside goes MageMonkey. That's a great Void Grip, but a Reanimate will plug away some good health down onto Khan. Barrage from the back line from rKuhl will soften up some of that front line that HP Officejet Pro been holding on to. Quaxhi trades out the kill, and just like that, the only frontliner is down from Sanguine. Penguiinn rolls on through. HP Officejet Pro retake and take point number 3.
That was to the wire there, with MageMonkey buying so much time, and a little failure of his zone just made things so much harder for them than it needs to be. If Terminus gets dismounted, suddenly it's a 99-99, and HP Officejet have to play so much more on the objective. They can't bait it. They can't play this kind of slower game that they were, with Quaxhi being able to run away at that last moment, and that fight is completely different at that point.
And now we get to see our first attempt from HP Officejet Pro on the push as well. They've been really stalwart on the defense, but can they make the offense work for them? And I love the way they're using these in flames. I mean, just because I'm so aggressive as Poison rounds the corner for 3 easy kills. That's going to help Sanguine here on this defense. But you kind of get this just aggressive, kind of punch them in the face vibe here from HP Officejet Pro. Let's use these in flames almost as often as they're up. Doesn't quite work out this time, as good solo play from Sanguine keeps them in the balance.
It was really close. Betty used it to stay alive, but they're at the point where if you use it to do that and then live, it ends up being worth it. You can get a pick and stagger from there, but Poison on this flank always turning heads, and HP is just stacking too much to be able to punish it.
Well, with a minute left, Sanguine are going to have to really hold firm here to tie up this game, prevent HP Officejet Pro from taking game number 1. If it does go to that point, Kinessa, I know you sort of mentioned you're kind of feeling HP Officejet Pro maybe as this game goes on if we have to go to a .7.
I think they have really good ultimates to end it. Sanguine only have a lot of reactionary ones, I think, other than maybe Overpower. But King Bomb, Hexafire, Inflame, Reanimate even, a lot of ways for them to go in, make space, and keep turning heads, or just put out an outrageous amount of damage. I think if they go into a 3-3 fight with a lot of ultimates, you can already see what it's done for them. They won that last one. Poison rolls off the map to escape Quaxhi, and he might end up trading for 2 in his own backline.
Reversal. That's a big 1v1 that Quaxhi wins. 2 for Quaxhi, 2 for Penguiinn, 1 for MageMonkey. 5 down now for Sanguine. And with 15 seconds left, Sanguine have to fight tooth and nail on this defense to keep game 1 from going HP Officejet Pro's way. They do have a few ultimates on their side. Barrage, Overpower. The Cursed Arm could be used here, and it's actually Overpower that gets used, but does it connect? Disaster scenario there from Sanguine as the King Bomb from Penguinn's going to roll in Flame. That's going to be enough to lock down a couple Quaxhi Hexafires through too. That's the nice double kill down to the low ground. HP Officejet Pro, talk about ending it. Game 1, they win the long one.
Sanguine were so close to holding it there too. They had a great play in mid from HP Officejet with the Siphon on the King Bomb. Barrage comes out, I'm like, oh, this is perfect. This counters the Hexafire. But then he just looks at the Terminus, who eats all of it with his Siphon. He threw it into the invincible thing, other than the one vincible thing on the other side.
And we haven't seen Sanguine lose maps all that often. They haven't lost a set just yet. HP Officejet Pro, I think that's got to be big. You swing here first, get the momentum on your side. And look at Penguiinn, 22, 11, and 9. I wondered if Bomb King would play a role, and he certainly did that.
Yeah, Penguiinn, I think, did a fantastic job. Both PC DPSs in this game kind of just popped off for their respective teams. But so a lot of damage from everybody else. Ralkion, I think, did a solid job of staying alive. And the tank line for HP Officejet, I think, were fantastic at keeping their team alive in places where they might not have been able to otherwise. Quaxhi, always turning heads, and MageMonkey, you saw how many times he was saving teammates or enabling plays just off the back of having Siphon. It's why Terminus is such a, I think, a powerful pick.
I agree, and I think especially you look at mid-fight number 3 where it's, 99 to 93, whatever it is there towards the end. It's a big reanimate that kind of turns the tables on that one, so I love seeing him get picked up, and I love seeing Terminus look good when he does it. And I think if you're Sanguine here, you're maybe a little frustrated. You had a few chances and just couldn't get this offensive push to go your way and end up crumbling under one push attempt from HP Officejet Pro.
This is why Turn BK is so strong against this composition. I think that they're running. Watching these games, you were thinking Sanguine, they got so close, they were pushing like you mentioned, but then maybe they get close and then suddenly there's an invincible Bomb King, and Bomb King just annihilates squishy targets. It's 3 shots to basically anybody if you're connecting them, and Penguiinn was on. He was hitting almost every stick.
That's a great start from HP Officejet Pro here. Sanguine, still a team that has a chance to kind of swing back, and map number 2 on Stone Keep is where they will attempt to do so. I wonder if Ruckus continues to be a big factor here in this set. I mean, obviously, moving into it, I kind of wondered where he was in Brazil, and what was your maybe mark on where Quaxhi hit with the Ruckus there in game number 1? Do you imagine good enough that we continue to see him throughout this set?
I think so. Ruckus is a little better on the mid fights than he is on the actual pushes on this map, though. So if you're picking Ruck, you're kind of committing to maybe we're not having a great time on the pushes unless we really get rolling with our back lines, right? Think about an Ashe or a Khan pushing this point. They can mitigate damage while they cross those massive sight lines, but Ruckus kind of just has to take it on the chin, get to the fight with half HP, and hope that it's enough of a distraction to trade.
And another IO preference here from HP Officejet Pro, and I think that's smart. I mean, again, when we talked about it the first time, it's a lot of teams that really know how to play this IO. It's so tough to kind of work around that. A sixth man almost in a way when we're able to play around Luna as effectively as a lot of these teams do. It's an Inara and an Evie banned out, though, from Sanguine, and Talus again takes a back seat. We already kind of talked about the HP Officejet Pro bans. It's Mirror from game number 1. What's maybe the mindset? We know Evie is a powerful tool to take away, but why maybe the Inara?
I'm not sure, honestly, on this map. Being able to go up top and wall someone off could be strong, but I feel like after what just happened, giving them the potential to start with Terminus Bomb King again, when I think they're both really strong on this map, it's tough to think about why they would decide that, but they want Viktor instead. They don't want to give him that double backline that we've seen Sanguine be so successful on this map. So though, Inara, she's one of the better point tanks at soaking up a large amount of damage. So maybe they just want a tank that they can ignore a little bit longer, or just a timer they can wait out like the Terminus.
I think HP Officejet Pro have gotten themselves a couple DPSs that they'll be happy with here, and I think smart from Sanguine to try to answer back with a Vivian of their own. And you know, I think Ralkion, it wasn't like the Ralkion show necessarily in game number 1. There were those moments where the cards kind of fell properly for Vivian, and sometimes that's all you need to really turn a big sweeping fight in your favor. And Sanguine are going to take a bit of a page out of HP Officejet Pro's book. They're going to take the Vivian, take the Terminus as well. If we're operating under the assumption that Sanguine is going to move into another triple DPS composition, I imagine you're happy with Terminus being your solo point tank.
Yeah, but it kind of does put the impetus on the rest of your team to execute quickly, because again, Terminus, it's only as long as his Siphon lasts, so I wouldn't be surprised to see 2 flankers potentially rounding out the draft for Sanguine so they can make moves. They can actually go in and try to attempt something, whether it be Maven and Androxus. I think that would be a great filler for the rest of the comp, because those are both safe pokers that can also immediately dive your backline and trade for a kill almost every time.
And Jenos as well for Sanguine lockdown. Furia for HP Officejet Pro worked wonders for them in game number 1, pairing that Inflame with the King Bomb. It makes it a little bit extra hard to dodge there. So similar vibes, really. I mean, trade out a Viktor for a Vivian here in game 2. A Barik for HP Officejet Pro will maybe replace kind of what Terminus was able to bring there on Brightmarsh. But HP Officejet, they're feeling confident with what worked for them in game number 1, and I think for good reason.
Yeah, the Barik is definitely the only question mark here, and it feels so wrong to have to say that because of how good Barik was for so long. But this Barik might struggle into this Vivian, this Androxus. He's basically like a Goomba. He's just a head and feet, and he's going to take so much headshot damage from the DPS on the other side. And especially if you can't dash out of it. His sustain is all in his dash. Now if he's crippled from a burn monster and getting headshots ringing like a constant bell from the Vivian, that Barik is not going to have an easy time surviving, especially with a Terminus staring at him.
Well, 3% of the time Tyra works every time, and 3% is her pick rate, and she hasn't lost. And I assume that's one single game where Tyra has been picked. So saying we're going to put that 100% win rate to the test here in game number 2 and try to answer back on Stone Keep. And it is still a ruckus here for HP Officejet Pro. The team that struck first on Brightmarsh will look to make it 2 on Stone Keep. Sanguine stick with those triple DPS roots and draft themselves a strong composition for Stone Keep. Lots of question marks maybe around some individual picks on both sides. I want to see how this Tyra performs. I think, Kresnik, you want to see how the Barik does in this game, because of how he used to be. Let's see if he can still maybe live up to some of that potential. For the moment, looks like, is that the Mercy Kill logo there on,
yes.
On Tyra?
Yeah, my guess would be it's going to be DR Mercy Kill, and then he might try to be a little bit aggressive with it. A lot of reset potential here. This is something that Bettyz used to love. Just running, I think, like 20% damage reduction on nade with 3 nade charges, and it stacks, mind you, so you'll be able to constantly have that DR kind of layering to like 30%. But I think HP can just play this so slow. They don't need to get aggressive. There's 2 backlines on the other side, but they're playing a little too slow as they just take the ground behind them.
Oh, Ghogert ripping through the HP Officejet Pro lineup. He's got 3. He's going to make it 4. The moment you say, let's play slow, Sanguine say, not today, and they barrel down that high ground, immediately wipe the map with HP Officejet Pro. I guess if there's a silver lining, it's that you still have time to get back because you died so fast.
Let me put an asterisk here. They need to play slow outside, not in point-blank range of the 2 people on the other team that are going to make a difference. Finally, Ruckus will be able to touch the point, but they keep stacking this keep side. This is a huge mistake for them, I think.
Quaxhi's gonna retake that high ground, does take a few plug shots. Quaxhi rounds the corner and gets the 2nd kill of the game for HP Officejet Pro. A small win, and saying we're gonna take that as their cue to back off because they have 96%. Quaxhi just able to dash away and out of range. So HP Officejet Pro have regained control, but Quaxi's still low and fortunately has to dash away one more time. Small moments there that could have made a big difference if Sanguine were able to finish off that kill, but we stand even here as overtime has started.
Look at this stacking right now from Sanguine, and it's not playing well to them. Wadu has to rotate off. He's low, can't touch the point, and everyone on HP Officejet is finding kills. No one on Sanguine is really able to do much of anything, and that's what I meant by playing slow. Play slow out of range. And there's literally, nothing that Sanguine can do. 3 people stacked in one little corner, and the 1 Bomb King is keeping them all locked down.
You tell me 30 seconds ago that HP Officejet Pro are winning that mid-fight, and I'm laughing at you, but here we are. They retake, and they remain in control up until the bitter end there for Sanguine. That's point number 1 on the board. A couple good shots, though, from Sanguine. We'll at least get this defense started off on the right foot. And, you know, we talk about players on either team that need to play a big role in this one. I think this Androxus really needs to hit some of those shots to give Sanguine a fighting chance in a lot of these fights.
It's just going to be so hard for him to cross that gap is the biggest problem. Poison, we know he can hit these shots. We know he has that potential. But
Absolutely.
if Ralkion is in a good position to have Overwatch, to look over everything, how is he going to get in without being spotted? Androxus doesn't really have almost an intangible dash. It's very visible, very obvious, and he has to just find a way to sneak in.
Well, the mindset there from ballersteve with that through time and space is maybe just peel where he thinks the King Bomb will be rolling, and did, if nothing else, force Penguiinn to choose an alternate route for that Bomb King ultimate. Sanguine have held firm on this defense, though, and very low is that Vivian grouped up here, HP Officejet Pro, but that's enough to have them turn around a kill onto WaduHekington. Quaxhi has to back his way off. Ghogert trades out with 1 kill, but down to the low ground now is this Tyra. Could be a flank opportunity onto Penguiinn. I'm surprised with how difficult it's been. It looked like HP Officejet Pro had a perfect opening there, and maybe now finally they're able to regain some semblance of control onto this high ground.
HP Officejet are taking these fights it's kind of going to be very grindy because they're going to keep pushing up and then backing up to try to bait them in because that's how they win this. They don't win it by just walking in and all-out brawling, and they're using the fact that Furia, with Betty controlling it, is just doing better healing output than Jenos, just in terms of raw numbers, at least burst-wise. It's going to make it way harder for the other side to find a kill without giving up so many more resources in exchange.
It has been slow, and that's a grumpy bomb, and he's going to send Poison away. He's going to have to dash off to the side. Ghogert finds the opening kill with MageMonkey immediately trading out 1, but some good shots on the back foot from Poison are going to drop Quaxhi right back into the dirt. 5 seconds left on this push, but it's a killing spree from Poison to maybe put the cap on Sanguine's defense, and this game is tied.
If anything, HP aren't feeling too bad about that. They did force out the Accursed Arm, and I will admit I was staring at Poison after he cast it the entire time, seeing if he was about to glide off of the map on the left side, but he actually got his dashes just in time at the last second, keeping him up. And you can see the numbers, they don't look good for Officejet, but it's gonna be so hard for them to make their stats look good with how they have to play it. I think they're gonna have to be trading for these potentially a lot, and then just using the sustain that they're going to have in these late fights to make it actually work. Plus the Cauterize, as it gets online, it's gonna get even harder for Betty to keep everyone alive. But I still think that if HP play this outside of the keep and play it a little slowly, they'll be able to force Poison to make a mistake and eventually win the battle on the floor.
Well, they're going to switch up their mindset here and actually move to church side to start this one off, but there's no member of Sanguine to be found as they have regained control of the high ground. A bit of a roundabout flank here from HP Officejet Pro, but MageMonkey the first to go down as Ghogert will rip some shots down on through. rKuhl has found a nice angle here as well. It's only 1 kill on the board, but it's Sanguine who has it. Sentinels are going to pop out to buy some extra offensive presence on this high ground, and looks like HP Officejet Pro have looked for a positional advantage, but instead have only found death.
They just took too long to wrap around and made MageMonkey have to throw so much away, and now he uses Dome Shield inside of Keep off the objective, and now he's going to have to touch it with no resources left.
ballersteve firing down, and that's Poison who gets the kill onto MageMonkey. Overtime is on, but this is where Sanguine were to start off the game, but this time I'm not sure they make a mistake about it. Overtime is reset, an important duel, but HP Officejet Pro, they swing right back and take point number 1.
Yeah, when I said slow, I didn't necessarily mean that slow, where they're going around all the way.
There's a balance, right?
Quaxhi, yeah, there's a balance. It's a fine line, and that's what's going to make it so hard for them to make this happen. It's going to have to be very tight play that finds the hole in the offensive line from Sanguine, and look at this aggression right now.
Whoa.
Terminus and Vivian running straight through. Ghogert finds 3, Poison cleans up the last, and they're getting set up for such a strong offensive push here, especially if they can play these close little corners.
Sanguine now on the offense, and with how much ground you're able to make up there, Sanguine have to be feeling good about this offensive attempt as HP Officejet Pro all back and respawning, and Poison might have the accursed arm that he needs with so many grouped up members of HP Officejet Pro just back and respawning, especially with Ralkion dropping right off the bat as rKuhl gets the kill there. Very grouped up on the high ground, which, you know, you might have to, but not if Gogert's going to rip on 3. A Penguiinn turns around some good damage. There's a crossfire over onto Quaxhi, but he's not in range as Poison has found a couple of kills, both onto the frontliner. Suddenly, Sanguine, they sweep themselves 2 points in a row, and they're on game point.
I think Mage is having a really tough time on the objective. He might be going a little bit too early. Even when they're waiting back and forth, we saw during that flank on that second mid fight that Mage was getting cab time the whole time, then immediately went down around like 40%. Maybe if he just holds off a little bit, makes Sanguine look around a little harder for a target, and only presents when HP are going for that flank play with Penguiinn and Quaxhi, then maybe it's so much health entering the fight at once that's being split so many different ways. Sanguine doesn't really have a chance to focus the right one, or maybe they're not able to all see the right target. He's just going a little bit out of sync with his flank, and I think that's been kind of what's been holding them back, or what's been at least not letting them maintain this objective presence.
Well, we've seen too fast and too slow from HP Officejet Pro, and maybe there's a nice just right middle ground that we see moving into this mid-fight. Ralkion does get the first kill, but it's on to Wadu, who's able to use that reanimated. King Bomb will be used here in the back line by Penguiinn as Poison does battle with Quaxhi up in the high ground. A Cursed Arm is going to look for some damage and plugs away some good shots into the back line, and that's Penguiinn who goes down. Oh, he had to reload, but Gogert's there to finish off the kill. Sanguine are going to regain control of this side of the map. 3 more kills from Ghogert, and they're in control of the mid-fight.
It was a great bait play by HP to start, where they backed up there. It looked like the turn was making so much room, but then no one was capping. They managed to get those last kills, but the respawns, or at least the people wrapping around them, made it way too hard to actually keep locked down. Just too much pressure on the outside, spamming into Banana, and they didn't have any coverage because they all were playing for that one bait.
ballersteve has a through time and space that could put the icing on game number 2 and tie it up for Sanguine. MageMonkey's gonna have to rocket boots through. He's already so low, no good on the through time and space, but it's a 1-for-1 trade. Poison and MageMonkey both down for their respective teams. Ralkion gets a nice heal, but not enough to save his life as a double kill from WaduHekington has an opening, and this may be what Sanguine needs to finish off this game. HP Officejet Pro, no one left alive, but suddenly MageMonkey is back trying again. Dome Shield will say no good, and Sanguine will take game number 2.
Great reaction, I think, to what HP wanted to do. They did fall for the bait at the start, but just having people wait and hold by the point but not get cap, it meant HP had no information on where they were. So when they go to retake, they're still stacking the keep because they're like, oh, they must be here like they have been. And then that complete collapse from the rest of Sanguine was what won them that final fight.
Oof, Ghogert at 16, 3, and 12. It's a pretty looking slash line there for the Vivian. 11, 6, excuse me, not 16, 6 and 11 for Poison. The damage dealers really got it done this game. I think Wadu on the Terminus as well. Obviously a big role to play when you're playing that solo tank. And I love that you can really see the combination they were going for, as you would expect with the Terminus. Let's pop up that power siphon. Let's send one of our 3 DPSs in behind them. And it tends to work out.
Yeah, just being able to save your backlines, I think, just is so strong. It's something that wasn't really used with Terminus at first. Initially, he was good because people were like, oh, infinite shield. But actually being able to enable someone, if this is the play I'm thinking of, it must be. You can see the siphon right on top from a Vivian that cannot be killed is a Vivian that wins you the game.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that any day of the week. That is one of,
hard
I
to break
think,
that down any further.
No, you're spot on.
Games.
Yeah, you can't kill Vivian, who has some of the highest DPS in the game, and she's unkillable. That seems A-okay to me. Ghogert, I think, had 2 or 3 triple kills throughout the course of this game. Maybe need to look no further from there. I think this is a big turnaround, though, from Sanguine here in game number 2, especially with how game 1 went, where you kind of felt like maybe you were in control throughout the first few mid-fights. Really, to get kind of a resounding win there on Stone Keep, I think is a good reset. Momentum maybe now kind of back to even. Kresnik moving into game 3. I'm not sure who has it on their side. The wind maybe in Sanguine sails, the wind maybe in HP Officejet Pro sails. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll find out. We are back, and we are tied. Game number 3 between Sanguine and your favorite PPC printers. Going into game 3 here, Kresnik. I think maybe it's kind of hard, but from like a previous player perspective, a couple kind of grueling back and forth games like that. If you're on one side or the other, where do you think the momentum maybe stands here going into Ascension Peak?
Honestly, it depends. I hate saying this, but it's a lot dependent on ego. Whatever team has a higher ego losing to that, like if Sanguine have something like that building up after losing the first map to HP, you'd think that's like a bigger hit than potentially HP losing the next map. Because HP now know that they have that potential to push forward and take more maps off of Sanguine, whereas Sanguine now, suddenly they found the gap in their armor that they need to figure out how to clean up. But I think Sanguine looked so good on that last map, I find it hard to say. Absolutely. That I don't think they're going to be able to keep rolling forward regardless of what comp they end up drafting.
Yeah, it's one of those, it's kind of hard to really say. It totally dependent on team chemistry, maybe where these guys stand with one another and how the mindset is going in here to game number 3 on an individual, maybe team basis. Ascension Peak, though, I mean, this is a map I think that lends itself to maybe some more interesting picks. We haven't seen sort of a heavy priority in some of those real mobile flank characters. I mean, talk about an Evie, a Maeve, same bans from HP Officejet Pro as well here with the IO and the Talus being taken away, and same bans, maybe in large part, kind of in the same vein for Sanguine as Inara Vivian taken off the board. I'm curious as to when maybe that Evie, when maybe that Maeve start to kind of come back into a meta where we've seen them so much over the last year or so. I
wouldn't be shocked to see them come out against the console team.
Hey!
Because the console team's like that. I was going to say, HP have a solid Evie player in Penguiinn, and this isn't a great Bomb King map. It's all right, but in terms of the mid-fight, it's just so wide that he just controls his area, and that's it. The rest of the team can play opposite him. But having this Evie, having that mobility, ability to chase down kills from damage the rest of the team is doing, I think it's a huge first pick for HP.
Agreed. I expect big things out of Penguiinn on this Evie, and especially when we've already seen him do big things on this Evie so far, 3 or 4 weeks in to the PPC. Running back the Androxus, I think fine here from Sanguine. Poison was hitting all the shots he needed to in game number 2, so I think just a fine pickup there for Sanguine. Viktor and Terminus, though, another good pairing, especially if we continue to see a very similar play style from that Terminus that we have seen, where he's kind of playing, obviously, frontline, but maybe kind of lead blocker for a Viktor in there behind him.
They have also kind of eliminated the strongest, I would say, hit scan backlines. Leon's still available, but with Viktor and Vivian both off the table and neither in Sanguine's hands, they're going to have to rely on characters they may be a little less comfortable with, or characters like Tyra who maybe don't control the same amount of space. Tyra's more on her grenades, her firebombs. Her damage is still good, but in terms of actual area control, she does rely really heavily on things that are a little bit easier to counter.
Absolutely, agreed there. And Ruckus, one more time, again, figured he might start to play a little bit more of a role in some of these games. A Terminus-Ruckus combination, I think, strong here for HP Officejet Pro, especially if we're going to lock in a Furia as well. Those Inflames just kind of pushing that team forward, a team that, when having the opportunity to dive in, will certainly make good use of it.
Yeah, and having Ruckus Evie, I think, against a Tyra is going to be really strong, especially with the Strix, too. Both characters that have ways to escape a dive, but aren't undiveable. You do have the DR on Tyra, you have the stealth on the Strix, but those aren't completely foolproof as the game goes on. So now HP have a win condition. Dive these backlines and keep the rest of your team alive. It just comes down to how well they execute that or how well Wadu plays in between Quaxhi, Penguiinn, and his dive targets.
And just the same as you have to be concerned about, kind of keeping a Viktor on the leash if you're Sanguine. Strix today, only really one or two instances of it. Really, Mitau. Still weird to talk about Mitau playing Strix, but we've seen what an unchecked Strix can do, much the same. Setting up shots. One big shot from a Strix, Androxus there to finish off the kill. Tyra's there to finish off the kill, and then, much the same in reverse. Androxus leads up a kill. Strix is there to finish it off. I think both teams, though, in large part, have drafted something they'll feel happy about here going into Ascension Peak. But, you as the analyst here, do you lean one way or the other for which team you like to break this tie?
I think HP has the chance to have a win condition more than Sanguine does. It's just going to come down to execution for them. They have to find people on Sanguine overextended or just make it so far into the backline that even existing is being overextended.
It's HP Officejet Pro 6978 all-in-one inkjet ready printer up against Sanguine. Did I get that right? Was that spot on? I don't know if that was spot on or not. I was very close. If not, I'm gonna get it down one of these days. That had to have been close, right?
It was definitely something. I was watching the map video, Dave. I was just entranced by the music being played for me. But look at this fight! Immediately, Poison straight in onto Ralkion and Penguiinn and finds both.
And that's a nice double from Poison. We'd wondered what this Androxus was going to be able to do, and that's an answer from Poison. Sanguine have garnered themselves 45% of the control already in this game as HP Officejet Pro completely swept. We'll be back and respawning. Minute and a half in. No ultimates obviously just yet because we're so close into this game. ballersteve has done a good job positioning himself early on so far as well. MageMonkey is going to pop up and try to absorb some of that damage. Quaxhi around the backside, though, as Poison flicks back, finishes off the Ruckus, and then rejoins the rest of the fight with his team. Tough start to this one. Nice stun down as Androxus drops, but he has the reversal as he shrugs that one off. MageMonkey goes down. Sanguine, they look poised for point number one.
And a great commander's grab by Wadu onto Penguiinn to help them find that kill, but biggest problem right now, I said it's going to come down to execution for HP. I feel like I've seen Penguiinn and Quaxhi on the same targets, but not at the same time. That's what they really need to get in sync if they want to make something happen. But look, Penguiinn low in the middle, Quaxhi low on the left side. They're still not even holding the same areas to try to catch anybody unaware.
Now from the high ground, rKuhl has found himself a good opening as well. It's going to be tough, though. Normally I think you're really excited about having this Viktor just kind of chilling on that balcony, firing down shots, but when you have somebody like Ghogert like that who can instantly turn around a massive chunk of damage, you have to really be smart about where you position yourself. Poison has found a nice roundabout flank as Coolmat has dropped down Ralkion one more time. A double kill for the Tyra and make it 3, says Coolmat. That's a blink through, blink back from Penguiinn. But like a knife through butter, Sanguine have rolled themselves up and taken the high ground.
HP just did not make space the right way, I think, there. They sent Mage in the middle of everybody, and the one place he falters is when he's surrounded.
That's a good Void Grip as well to keep the ball rolling. And just like that, MageMonkey dashes through, stunned down, can't dash back. And Sanguine take a 2-0 lead early on in this game.
That was clinical there at the end, just focusing down the tank, CC into CC, Vortex straight into a Void from the other side, and you can already see the impact that these DPS are having, making it so hard for them to make this room because they're waiting so much. But again, I think a little more synergy could catch these people out, but they're just going as so aggressive on Sanguine that they don't really have a chance to find anyone. Sanguine aren't giving them the chance to sit back and go, all right, here's the target, let's go in. I'm diving now, go, go, go. As soon as we came in, Poison was already in the middle of their team, killing Viktor and already on the Evie. They're just not giving HP a chance to breathe.
Yeah, it seems like Sanguine's mindset has worked perfectly. 4 minutes in to Ascension Peak here. Through time and space, will not connect up onto the high ground, but a dash in, dash out in Evie fashion. Goes the Ruckus here, a cursed arm from Poison. One final shot onto Betty, and that's enough to do it, but Ralkion will turn around enough damage before Ghogert cleans up that Evie finally. Ralkion's attention is turned elsewhere up onto that high ground. Looks like Sanguine, again, are going to be able to win the at least early engagement here for point number 3.
And the DR from that Tyra is able to keep him alive, running away. Just that stacking damage reduction means that the little bit of chip from Quaxi's miniguns just are not doing what they need to. Wadu in a great spot up here, too, with the overpower catches Quaxi through it. That's a great start to this.
Oh, nearly able to dash his way back in. Wait, is he gonna... Oh, he made his way back on somehow, but the Hexafire is gonna turn around and find the kill. Quaxi somehow makes his way back onto that map. I didn't think he had the distance, but I end up with egg on my face this time around. This is actually a great-looking fight for HP Officejet Pro. You've been able to get rid of a couple of the important members of Sanguine, but Gogert's still alive and turns around the kill onto Penguinn. HP Officejet Pro will have the fast cap, and that'll help catch him up.
It is still just Quaxi capping, though. Now that he's blinded, he has to get off. Doesn't even know he's in the corner. The rest of HP have to surround while they're distracted, but it looks like Ralkion's getting stonewalled by the Tyra.
Ghogert has found the kill, and rKuhl has done the same. Reanimate thought about being used. Actually does get used by MageMonkey, and it's a clean sweep here. A perfect strike for Sanguine as they take point number 3. ballersteve make it 25 on that streak.
It was a great retake attempt by HP. I don't think they expected that overpower to not find what it needed to. So losing Wadu, again, it's disastrous. Wadu has to play so much safer than every other tank in the game because of the way his team likes to play. But even then, he can get away with aggression like this, potentially catching out MageMonkey.
It's a nice heal onto MageMonkey, so the moment that power siphon will fall, he'll at least be able to shrug off a little bit of damage. Ralkion, a little bit far forward for maybe his liking, and Ghogert drops off Betty as well. It's been kind of a non-stop onslaught from this mid-fight, Kresnik. Sanguine have found their opening back into this game, despite being in the lead, back into maybe a win here. HP Officejet Pro looked shaky at best maybe on their last defense attempt.
And they tried to get forward, they tried to be aggressive, but there's so many little burst sustain moments in the comp from Sanguine that they just can't find what they need to actually clean up on anything. There's a reversal, there's DR, there's just invisibility, there's just nothing that's letting them actually finish a kill. Everyone's just getting low, and that's where Jenos is thriving, healing everybody.
Ghogert has plugged away so many important shots here as well. Looking for a 30 streak is ballersteve here in this game. Wadu ends up going down, but Penguinn does the same. Checkerboard on the kill feed here. Through time and space, catches the shoulder of the Ruckus. Suddenly the squishies of HP Officejet Pro have to go down, and that never ends well. Sanguine, 4 straight points, and now 2 straight wins. Ascension Peak came and went in just a few minutes. Wow.
Yeah, dominant play by them. That triple hit scan on a map that's so wide is just, it was an unbreakable wall that they tried to get through. Every single push they wanted to do, someone that was healthier than them was waiting for them on the other side. Yep. There was good attempts at doing something, but again, I just did not think that Quaxi and Penguinn played tight enough to actually break open a hole in Sanguine.
I don't know. I think it's tough to look at any one person on Sanguine's stats here. I mean, ballersteve undying 4-0 and 30 on the Jenos, and then 1 to 3 deaths for everyone else on Sanguine. I think this is all right, let's move on and try to answer back here in Game 4 if you're HP Officejet Pro, because dominance, I think, is the only way to look at it now if you're Sanguine. And we kind of have that momentum conversation. I think at this point, 2 straight wins, that's enough to give Sanguine a real push here and maybe a fighting chance to end the set in Game number 4. But I've loved what I've seen out of Tyra here today, and I like us starting off the replay package. A champion we haven't seen all that much, Krez, but it's looked good in what we've seen today.
She's so good against pressure. The ability to just have that stacking damage reduction, if she's very careful about using it. You kill one person that's diving you, suddenly you have 3 more stacked up. Not only that, while you're getting damage reduction, you're bursting them for 700. Just a lot of an impact you can see from this Tyra, how much she can live through. Combine that with the life rip she has at base, and you have an almost unkillable hitscan backline who has one of the better, I think, initiation ultimates in the entire game.
Absolutely, and I kind of in a way want to see Sanguine continue to go towards her because she's worked out in a capacity in what we've seen. I am interested though in maybe a change up here in bans because I feel like HP Officejet Pro and maybe for good reason, but they've taken away that IO and I think it's Talus that they've been banning out pretty much every single game. I wonder if they maybe change things up here for Warder's Gate. Maybe IO still takes a back seat here. Warder's Gate, a map where she can certainly, assert her will. But I wonder if there's maybe room in that second ban column to maybe change some stuff up here for HP Officejet Pro.
What I'd almost like to see is them go for second, even though this is their choice, go for second pick and then force them to either first pick IO or give it away. I feel like then they could take some very potent backlines and almost just try to win that duel. That maybe they get Viktor, they get Vivian, and they just force them into them. But looks like they do want to go first pick for their pick. It is standard to want to do that. You get the best thing, and you can set your plan first before the other team gets to have a choice.
It's still IO. Again, not surprised with the IO ban, especially with, what she has in her core kit, but as well as here on Warder's Gate, plenty of area for her to control. Sanguine are going to take away the Inara one more time, and I kind of echo your thoughts where, I don't know why, but it seems to be working here in the last couple of games. I mean, Inara is good. I mean, I don't know if you necessarily have to explain yourself over that one, but obviously a particular distaste for the Inara here up against HP Officejet Pro. Vivian as well. And for a fourth time in this set, maybe with one change here or there, mirror bans from both sides, and a Jenos picked up first overall for HP Officejet Pro.
HP stepping away from the Furia for the first time just to take away Jenos from the other side, and Sanguine say, if you're going to counterpick us, we'll counterpick you. They grab the Bomb King as well. That's definitely going to go to Poison. And I don't even think picking up that character, knowing what Poison's going to play that early, really limits you that much. You know, there's so many hit scan characters that Ghogert and rKuhl can play that they're not really that locked down. Plus, getting, I think, their ideal solo tank. It's a great start for them. Not only did they get their best solo tank, they got the best counter pick, I feel, into that tank.
Absolutely. And I think it's a great bit of momentum that they can maybe build on moving through this draft phase. Ruckus, Barik, a combination that we've kind of seen one piece or the other, but not so much fully together here today. So lots of shielding now is maybe where my eyes go if I'm Sanguine. You wonder if you maybe start to prioritize some earlier wreck or really melt down that Ruckus, try to get some of those shields out of the way for Barik.
Yeah, they're definitely giving a little bit of a kind of free game for Wrecker, I would say. Barik, Ruckus, not that great into it. Plus, with Viktor still open, that's tough. These are tanks that are not fantastic to play into very strong backlines, I would say. With BK already available, having Vic BK Khan on the side of Sanguine,
your words carefully, heathen,
it's not a great start, I think, for HP, even with the tanks that they have. Being solid with Jenos, Tyra might be the pick instead of the Vic, but I think there's still room for both, just to have that great long-range poke and I think good chances to survive through pressure.
Well, HP Officejet still searching for presumably both of their DPSs, unless they throw a triple tank or a double healer curveball at us here on Warder's Gate. So an opportunity to take away something that's been working for Sanguine. A lot of it has been, poison on that Androxus, might be poison on the Bomb King here for Warder's Gate. Kinessa, though, that's certainly an interesting pick. I mean, for the longest time, it's been Strix or bust, and now it's Kinessa on Warder's Gate, as well as a Lex for the damage dealers here for HP Officejet Pro. What do you make of that?
That's a rough one to lock down exactly why. I don't really know what he's going to bring to the team that some other flankers might not be able to do. With Androxus still available, especially. Androxus more or less does what Lex does with almost more shots depending on your build, and the ability to go vertical. Lex, if anything, has the ability to, delete a shield, but Khan's isn't that healthy. It's an interesting choice. I think they might just want to pair that with the Ruckus and have a more horizontal dive.
Well, curious picks here for HP Officejet Pro, who needs to win 2 straight in order to best the top of the league here over in NA in Sanguine. And Sanguine just needing one more, and Warder's Gate will be where they hope to get it done. They've stuck with the Lex, a champion that has done wonders for them up to this point here in this set. Might be Poison, though, still on the Androxus. Instead, it is going to be Ghogert. Poison is indeed going to be moving over to that BK, but instead of any wrecker, it's going to be 4 cauterizes down the board to start off this map.
And I actually kind of hope that they stick with Discovery or go Heroism. I think fast-firing Lex is a little underrated. I think the ability, if he can get in, if he can get close, it's actually very powerful. Especially with Heroism, having that burst damage reduction can make a huge difference. I guess I could talk about this now because it's been a long time, but Na'Vi was running Lex Heroism in their scrims for quite a while. It never came out on the main stage, but it was a pocket strat that they used, and I'd love to see HP do it as well.
Yeah, I think that there's got to be a half-life on leaks and when we're allowed to talk about them. I think that time came and went for that sort of info. And Ghogert has found some great presence early on in this Androxus. 2 kills on the board, both of them in Gogert's back pocket. Quaxhi is going to pull back 1 onto RKuhl, but this Androxus has found the openings early and often in this game. And you got 90% already for Sanguine. You've got low health on Quaxhi, going to try to move back in. Overtime is started up here. One more fight maybe, and Quaxhi finds a kill onto Ghogert.
Sanguine's still holding this objective too, even with the pressure from the Kinessa looking down from long. 99%. Sanguine have all the time in the world to take this fight however they want. You can see how they're staging right now. They could basically take a break, come back, and still be able to fight this.
This is almost a mirror of what we saw in Stone Keep, where Sanguine mopped the floor with HP Officejet Pro to start off, but then suddenly, in a roaring second win, HP Officejet have moved themselves right on back. They regain control of this mid-fight. They have 90% and climbing on this point here. Wadu is going to look for something, but he finds nothing, and somehow HP Officejet Pro, they strike first.
The retake from the side from Ralkion, I guess they were so focused on looking forward, they didn't see him flanking from behind. Potentially Penguiinn keeping them locked down and just draws their fire the whole time. Good aggression from Wadu, but it's just traded 1 for 1.
Poison, though, has a nice double kill here on the defensive side, and that's Teleporter to get the Kinessa out alive, and a dream start to the defense here, I think, if you're Sanguine. To keep yourself in the balance of this game, the last thing you want is to keep things really rolling here on Warder's Gate. And I kind of wonder the role that this Kinessa is going to play. I mean, obviously excels in these long-range poke engagements. It's going to be tough now trying to fight back into Sanguine. You know, what role do you maybe imagine for the Kinessa for the Printer team?
For this point, it's going to be hard. For the mid-fight, it's basically just area denial. But once you're in the push, hope someone pushes into you, honestly. There's not a lot of room. Look how deep this King Bomb goes! Poison connects on 3 in the back! Ghogert cleans them all up, and with 1:30 left, that is not a wasted ultimate. That is so much room gained by that pressure, and Sanguine are going to go straight to their spawn.
Yeah, see you later, HP Officejet Pro. And remember, I always like to remind, this is Sanguine on defense, and HP Officejet Pro just trying to get out of their base. And the other 4 ultimates for Sanguine are ready, or will soon to be ready, and the King Bomb will charge up plenty quickly as well. Half the time off the clock, and could get worse here if this Crossfire finds half of the value that Poison did with that King Bomb, and Ralkion ends up dropping down. It is Quaxhi deep in the backline now, and rKuhl will turn his attention to the Ruckus attempting to escape, but ballersteve shuts that down quickly. A perfectly executed defense up to this point, maybe 1 or 2 slip-ups here or there, but the payload has literally not moved an inch off that platform, and there's only 30 seconds left.
It's been a great defense, I think, from Sanguine. You can see how much damage they're outputting on the right targets, but a split might make a difference, but still, there's just so much damage, Quaxhi can't do anything.
And you can see where Penguiinn is trying to find a little sightline here, find a little sightline there, just hasn't been able to do so on the defense. And Ghogert is going to drop down Kinessa to boot. With 10 seconds left, it would take a miracle, I think, to not only even get back to this payload, but to get it moving. HP Officejet Pro staggered heavily, and I think a lot of it, and if not all of it, Chris, is on the back of that great King Bomb from Poison.
Oh yeah, that completely just flipped, I think, how the defense was going at that point. It was back and forth constantly, but a full team wipe, I would say, is pretty fair. And this is exactly what happened from Ralkion here. You can see they were rotating, trying to set up, but just no one had the coverage for Ralkion to stop him, more or less. And this is going to be, I think, the constant weakness that Sanguine will show, potentially could show as time goes on. Only having one tank most of the time, there's always going to be a lane that's open. If the other side of the map can buy enough time to live through the damage coming in from Sanguine, and you draft a composition that can push that other side, whatever it may be or wherever it is, that's going to be your in. You have to find a way onto Steve, onto these backlines, and then win the duel.
It's worth remembering that Sanguine really swung first in this game and then just couldn't hold down that mid-fight for reasons you just detailed. So Sanguine should, I think, feel comfortable with how their plan worked first overall, and it's much the same here as Ghogert has found the flank, gotten the kill down onto Betty. And that's a good commander's grab for Wadu to lock down MageMonkey, and he finally finishes off the kill. In the meantime, Penguiinn and Quaxhi, though, have combined for a couple. But it's really Sanguine here that are starting to prosper. Overpower and smartly played to drop Penguiinn back off of the mark there so they can continue to garner percentage while the Viktor goes down. Or Kinessa.
Interesting to see that.
There's not even a Viktor in this game. I don't know where my mind is.
I was just letting it fly. We don't know. Maybe we don't know Kinessa's real name. Who knows? Things are strange in the realm here. And I liked how they were fighting that, but I don't like how Penguiinn was positioned. I think it was strange. Too close to the fight for Kinessa.
Quaxhi stunned down as Ghogert finishes off the kill, and that's the dome shield from MageMonkey. No more front lines for HP Officejet Pro, but a double kill turns it around from Ralkion, who's still there fighting. He's got a triple. You gotta be kidding me. Somehow Ralkion stays alive. This time, though, a triple kill from a carry is not enough, and Sanguine regain control of this game to the tune of their second point.
The control there was great until Ralkion came in, and that's where Penguiinn, I think, needs to be. He has to be watching the point. It seems useless, but you're still at least keeping them from capping, because otherwise you're just giving them a free kill most of the time.
Well, this is, a big difference in what we've seen, where Sanguine, at least on the push attempt, where Sanguine is able to keep things going here. Quaxhi does get the kill onto Ghogert, but the payload has at least moved forward in favor of Sanguine this time around. But I think this is an area, Krez, where this Kinessa can really make her mark. I mean, talk about long, free sight lines, a team trying to fight into you. I think Penguiinn has a big role to play on this defense.
Yeah, this is where he's going to be shining on defense. Unfortunately, you never want to draft a character and be like, yeah, when we lose, it's going to be so good.
Yeah, right.
We're going to be sick when we have that massive sight line. That's where they're going to struggle, I think. They need to find something from Penguiinn on the rest of the time the game is happening.
Well, Penguiinn has helped his team put their mark on this defensive stand as a clean sweep. Sanguine all back in base. And I think, as much as Penguiinn has had a hand in this defense, I think we have to commend Ralkion for what we've seen on this Lex up to this point. I mean, talk about helping them win point fight number 1 and then giving them a chance there at the end. And now on this defense, starting things off strong. It's been really hard to lock down Ralkion and try to diminish what Lex is bringing to the table.
That's the value of having this Lex. You have so much sustain, so much speed, ability to rotate really fast. Fast-firing Lex has the chance to play the dash reset card, which doesn't really happen a lot with the Death Hastens. You don't get as much from it, but if you're constantly hitting shots that quickly, you're able to use that, spam your dash, spam the speed that you get from it, and you're just kind of all over them. It's so hard for them to really stop you. He's only running that card on 2, but still more value than he would have gotten if he was running that with Death Hasten.
Absolutely. And I love what I've seen out of the build and Ralkion kind of playing around it. Crossfire from rKuhl will chip away at the Lex and actually does end up resulting in the kill and Inflame as well. Sanguine, they want this point right now, but Penguiinn has other thoughts. rKuhl has finished off Quaxhi back behind this big pillar, goes Poison just to stay alive. MageMonkey lurking around the corners and Flame times out. Remember the respawn's much closer here. That's a nice Poppy Bomb. Everyone out of range just for a moment there from Sanguine. HP Officejet Pro tie the game.
This map, it's so easy to lose idea of where you are on that. I didn't realize that was an alt double kill, by the way, from Ralkion. You don't see the law really pull off that much, but seeing it do that in a PPC game, I think is really impressive, the impact this Lex has had. Dare I say it's... Oh, no, I don't think it's true. I was going to say, dare I say it's the best Lex I've seen so far, but freaking Brazil likes to pull it out and likes to have that Death Hastings kind of pokey style. But Ralkion, I think, has done a great performance showing why Lex is a viable character in NA.
And that is to the tune of 12 kills, 9 deaths, a little high, but Sanguine has been able to really kind of mitigate that, or mitigate the Lex at the proper time. top damage to a few members of Sanguine. I think rKuhl has found some good value from this Tyra as well. HP Officejet Pro, I wouldn't say they've controlled outright one of these mid-fights just yet. Sanguine have struck first. All two mid-fights, save this one now that Ralkion has been able to move in, find the kill onto Ghogert, who's played a big role for Sanguine. Wadu has to dash forward, and he's going to drop down as well. A couple kills from the rest of Sanguine, maybe keep him in it, but instead it's Ralkion who's running wild. 3 kills on this Lex. And HP Officejet Pro, they're in control and can maybe take the lead.
And the little passive wall hack from Lex coming into effect there. He knows exactly where Ghogert is. No chance for a sneaky touch around the back of the point. Even comes where he is to try to get that time and space, but doesn't connect. And now it's desperate stakes, I think, for Sanguine.
It's a great Void Grip to keep Wadu out of striking distance of that point. Crossfire from rKuhl is going to try to find some health mitigation. Ralkion plugs some shots into the back of Ghogert, slides to the side before rKuhl will clean him up eventually, but nobody in range from Sanguine. HP Officejet Pro, they moved themselves in, they capped the point, and now they're pushing for the win.
They just had the contest the entire time. That last second pressure, I think, of Sanguine coming back in. Being able to kill Wadu that early was what made the biggest difference, I feel. He is too important to capture to die that fast, but he's also the one that has to touch. It's really a hard decision for Sanguine to make what they do, and it puts a lot of pressure. Once Wadu's gone, it's so much pressure on the DPS to play perfectly around that objective.
Yep. Well, the defense number 1 from Sanguine was really on the back of a massive triple stun from that King Bomb. Quaxi's going to try to dive in. ballersteve is going to shrug it off thanks to an Inflame, but Ralkion's right there to finish off the kill. You got a triple in the mid-fight. Why not another triple here on the push? HP Officejet Pro, they've swung back hard. Now have given themselves a great chance to push in with 1.5 minutes left.
It's a great place to be here, right on this choke. It's not the easiest. If you can keep them at least slightly pressured up top and don't give them main for free, this area is almost guaranteed for you. You just have to keep that area controlled in that upper. It looks like they're having a little bit of trouble with that. BK and Androxus both here, just Quaxhi doing long-range damage, and he's getting pressured, so this could be, I think, an easier defense for Sanguine than HP might think.
And Coolmat agrees with you as he crossfires his way to a double, and Ghogert will steal the final shot of what would have been a triple there for rKuhl. There's something about this set and these players and people finding triple kills. I feel like I've seen more triple kills in the first 4 games of this one than we have over the last few weeks, maybe even combined. It's not all said and done just yet. Especially if Sanguine, I mean, they've taken an aggressive defensive stand here, and at the moment it's working out for them, but you're always kind of playing with fire when you move this far out and try to defend. But I think luckily, if you respawn fast enough, even if you lose everyone, it won't really matter, because HP Officejet Pro are just trying to get themselves back to the payload.
That's the power of the defender's advantage. If you go into the back and you're just confident enough to know that you're going to trade, it's super effective. The rest of your team will slow down the cart, you'll get your respawns with your damage. As long as people don't fall apart on that defense by the objective, it's trading is always going to be a net positive on defense.
Oh, it's one more chance here for Sanguine. King Bomb, Accursed Arm, Inflame, Overpower, all ready to go. Officejet Pro have some good ultimates available as well, but you lose Ralkion right off the rip. The Lex has been massive in getting anything going for HP Officejet Pro. This one's going to time out. Overtime will expire. Sanguine will tie this game, and we're headed to a .7.
With a lot of ultimates available too. Dome Shield, Hexafire, the tank ultimates up for HP, and basically everything else on the side of Sanguine. Only Crossfire and the Law not quite charged yet. I think Poison's been having a great game, top damaging and pretty low on the death charts as well. Penguiinn, I feel like he's been so quiet in terms of getting kills, but that might just because Ralkion is shouting so loud with everything he's been able to accomplish so far. Yeah, you can't hear anything else other than Ralkion screeching on this Lex. But he's been having a good performance in terms of doing damage. In terms of this fight, Sanguine, I feel like, should have the advantage. They have the overpower. If they can get that first pick and play off of that, that's a great starting point, but I find it so hard to side against Ralkion when he's been on fire as much as he has.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, maybe you just have to try to overpower Ralkion away. Instead, Poison through the King Bomb gets dropped down. MageMonkey and Quaxhi, the first couple of kills here. Wadu's going to drop. This is a big fight win for HP Officejet Pro. They swung with those ultimates first. They're going to sweep out Sanguine, Inflame, King Bomb, both used. They're still in overpower, maybe for the retake, but it's the blue side who's in map control.
rKuhl just fell off the map from Quaxi's pressure and died immediately. 60%, and I'm not sure how they're going to go in. Did they get the overpower? They did! Onto Betty, no cap pressure now. Other people have to drop, and they can play a slow game as long as they get touch.
Ralkion back behind the tree, but that's not going to save his life this time. rKuhl whirls his way forward. The crossfire rips through Quaxhi down to the low ground. Goes MageMonkey. The fight back from Sanguine is swift, and it is quick. And now it's their chance to zone. Dome Shield, ready to go for HP Officejet Pro, but not a lot of time.
Dismounting the tanks is the most important thing here, too. Quaxhi dismounted, potentially Mage 2, and it's 81 and counting, Dave.
They're going to have to move in, but Ghogert drops first. 99%, nobody in range. Sanguine will take that any day of the week. Quaxhi looked like one toe away there from trying to take it back, but Sanguine somehow turned the game around here on Waters Gate, and they take the win.
It was a great overpower by Wadu. Betty kind of got caught in a complete gambit there because, you have to stand on the point. If you get off the point, you don't win. It was kind of a lose-lose there. Stand on the point, get overpowered, get off the point, and stop capping, wait for Mage to rotate back. Still, though, I think a great showing by HP against a team like Sanguine that have been such kind of titans in this region so far.
And that's to say the least. I think Sanguine have proven that they're here to play, they're here to fight, and they're one of the top teams in this region. I don't think HP Officejet Pro are far off from that, though, by any stretch of the imagination. I'm curious where you maybe stand on Lex after today. 23, 13, and 10. I mean, it's hard to scoff at. Right, higher than before, but higher than low is still just above low, right? I mean, realistically, where do you think Lex should be prioritized?
I think on the tighter maps, you can play him in those Moji-ish positions. He's not better than Moji in that job, but if there's a high CC other team and you run a Heroism Lex, you can be almost unstoppable if you play it right.
And I think as well as we've talked about, Ralkion, Lex kind of running through in this game. It was Ralkion. I think Ghogert on this the Androxus played a big role for Sanguine as well. I think the shots were on point. I mean, maybe outshined a little bit by the 23 kills that Ralkion was able to find. But I think Sanguine have found a champion that really works well for them. I mean, Androxus is no secret. It's not a diamond in the rough here at this point. Yeah. But Androxus today, I think, just worked so well for Sanguine, and a big reason why they were able to find the win.
I feel like Androxus, for how good he's done, is so low in the pick ban. I know he's not even that low in the pick ban. I feel like he should be even higher. I feel like every time I see an Androxus in a game, he is just dominating most of the time in every region on almost any player. Just such an impactful champion on the flank. Vertical mobility, good poke damage, a great ultimate for synergy. And I feel like he's still sometimes getting unpicked in these last choices.
Absolutely, Krez, and that is Phase 1, Week 4. All said and done. Chromospace, Rosfet, they go all 5 this morning. Rosfet find the win. Then we jumped over to Parallax Fatal Ambition, where Parallax found, I would say, the easiest 3-0 we've seen here. And then Sanguine, a little bit of muddy waters up against HP Officejet Pro, but they're able to get the win 3-1 nonetheless. How the standings changed after this schedule, that's another question. Well, Sanguine, they don't change at all. Still up top 10 plus minus through 4 games. So they have dropped, 2 maps they've dropped out of a possible 12 plus minus. Sanguine are at 10. Team Project just behind them. And I think that means, with 6 teams, we're 4 weeks in. Everyone will have played everyone after 5 games. So next week, I think that's Sanguine versus Team Project that are going to be going up against one another. What's it going to take to beat these guys, though? Sanguine have just been near unstoppable.
You just have to play the bait game, I think, really well. You can't fall for their trap, but you also can't waste so much time figuring out what to do that Wadu has just free stood on point for the last hour.
Well, Sanguine, they continue their tear over here in NA, and that's our broadcast for today, PPC week number 4. Kresnik, myself, Gormizer, we'll be back tomorrow right here on Smite Game. I believe 2 o'clock is our start time. We're going to have 4 more of those PPC games for us, so make sure to tune in then. But that's all for us here today. for this time slot. So on behalf of myself, Kresnik, everyone back in production, thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.